If Donald Trump wins a second term, it will be infinitely more dangerous than his first 4 years in office because there won't be that pushback within his cabinet that he saw during his first term. He will make sure that he only puts loyalists around him and there will be nobody there to keep him in check. See, if he learns from what he deems were his mistakes in his first term, then he'll make sure people like Mike Pence, people like Mark Milley won't exist to keep him in check. This means Donald Trump could very quickly go off the rails, and a lot of people think he'll be starting from scratch in his second term, but he'll be picking up exactly where he left off on January 6th, with eroding every single norm in the book. I do have some good news for you guys today regarding polling. Ever since Biden's State of the Union and the media's positive coverage of it, we've seen Biden begin to edge Trump out in the polls. Now, it's still way too close for comfort, and I do want to point out that a lot of times polls can be skewed when we're still 7 months out. I think we'll get a lot more accurate picture when we're 2 or 3 months out of the election, but trends can be indicative of where things are going, of course, and it seems like things are trending in Biden's direction. Not to mention, he's fundraising massive amounts of money. He's giving these great speeches, opening all of these field offices, while Donald Trump is sitting in court. We see Sleepy Don trending on Twitter, but I do want to point out that today, Fox News posted a poll showing Biden ahead. This is after months of them showing tons of polls, cherry picking these polls of Trump being ahead. And then there were a few weeks there when Biden started to edge Trump out that they said, oh, we don't like to show polls anymore on the show. We don't really like to feature polls on Fox News. But now they're starting to come back to reality in an attempt to hype up their audience. But we've been seeing this trend lately where every time RFK Jr. is polled alongside Donald Trump and Joe Biden, RFK actually polls more votes away from Trump than Biden for obvious reasons. RFK Jr. is the anti-establishment, anti-vax candidate, and Joe Biden, to a lot of people, represents the establishment, to me, in the best way. But let's look at this Fox News poll a little bit more closely. It shows Biden, Trump, RFK Jr., Jill Stein, and Cornel West, and you see that Biden has actually edged Trump out by 2%. And if RFK Jr. didn't exist on this poll, it might be a little bit more even, but this poll is from about 10 days ago, April 12th to 16th, and it shows Biden in the lead. This has been a trend that we've been seeing more and more. Biden is beginning to edge Trump out by 2 or 3 percentage points. And the thing is, this is all still within the margin of error. So all of these polls showing Biden only 2 points ahead of Trump, or Trump only 2 points ahead of Biden, don't really show us much because the margin of error could still be massive when we are 7, 8 months out from the election. And what we need to understand is that a lot of the polling showing Trump with a slight edge over the past few months was a function of independents and undecided voters not really participating. So inevitably, you'd have the Trump cult giving him a slight lead. But as the election gets closer and as undecideds and independents start to come home to the Democratic Party, well, not home, but they start to realize that Trump is an actual threat to democracy and they no longer are undecided voters, then we will see Biden absolutely washing Trump. I am pretty confident. Even in this new Marist poll, we see Biden with a 5-point lead. This is the biggest edge he's had since polling began for this election cycle. MeidasTouch says a new poll released by Marist has demonstrated that President Biden's momentum is growing in the polls. The new poll, which observed 1,047 registered voters across America, found that in a head-to-head with Donald Trump, President Biden leads by a 3% margin at 51 versus Donald Trump's 48%. But when the poll brings in the likely third parties, including RFK Jr., Biden's lead grows to 5%, with him earning 43% of the vote, and Trump earning 38% of the vote, and Kennedy earning just 14% of the vote. This reinforces what I said earlier in the video. If RFK Jr. is able to get on the ballot in some of these key swing states, which they are fighting for, then that will pull more votes away from Donald Trump than it will Joe Biden. And RFK Jr. was Donald Trump's spoiler candidate. I mean, the biggest Trump donor from 2020 has been bankrolling RFK Jr.'s campaign in an attempt to pull votes away from Joe Biden, but it seems like it's having the opposite effect. It seems like everything they tried to do backfires, including Donald Trump effectively gaining control over the RNC by proxy, gutting the RNC, and now they are struggling to open any field offices across the entire country. I played this clip the other day, but listen to Charlie Kirk say it even better than I could say it.
And we are struggling right now as a movement to open up the necessary field offices to compete against Joe Biden. In the state of Georgia, Joe Biden has 14 field offices. In the state of Pennsylvania, Joe Biden has 14 field offices. In the state of Michigan, Joe Biden has 20 field offices. In the state of Wisconsin, Joe Biden has 44 field offices. In the state of Arizona, Joe Biden has 8 field offices. In Nevada, Joe Biden has 2 field offices. Between all of them, Joe Biden has 450 full-time people on staff in 9 states, and all 9 out of 9 swing state directors. Now, based on all of our data, we do not believe Donald Trump has a single field office in any one of those states yet open.
So while President Joe Biden has been working to secure aid for our allies, making sure we have a strong coalition across the globe, dealing with foreign policy disasters with countries like Iran, and then even passing domestic policy. I mean, we've seen him pass more domestic policy over the past 3-4 years than Donald Trump could have ever dreamed of. Joe Biden has been doing all of that. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is sitting in court, falling asleep, while Sleepy Don is trending. And mind you, this undermines the years and years of the Sleepy Joe propaganda that Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans have been trying to spread. I mean, right now, MAGA is in disarray. They're having trouble reining in the extremists in Congress, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like Lauren Boebert. Meanwhile, the Democrats are actually the ones who have a cohesive coalition right now in Congress. I mean, they usually do, but we are all on the same page. We all voted for funding for Ukraine. We made that a bipartisan effort. Democrats are, as always, the adults in Congress, and we have to rein Republicans in. And to touch back on something I said earlier about undecided voters slowly coming to the Democratic Party, this Marist poll actually supports that perfectly, because what they say is that among those who definitely plan to vote in November, Biden is plus 6 percentage points over Trump. 53 to 47%. So once you poll people and you filter out the undecideds and you find people who definitely plan to vote, who will be there at the polls, then Biden is washing Trump. It is going to be an absolute bloodbath, to steal Donald Trump's words. So the onus is now on us to get people out to vote, to make sure we're registering voters, we're phone banking, we're relentlessly spreading this message about Project 2025. Because I will say, people got complacent in 2016 thinking, oh, Hillary is crushing Trump in the polls. There is no way we could lose, and we saw how that turned out. But of course, Biden is not Hillary. They are not the same people. Biden is much more strong electorally. Biden has a way better track record. Biden is on track to beat Trump, but again, we can't get complacent. We have to get out there and mobilize. That's the most beautiful part about democracy, is that we are able to mobilize en masse and reject ideas we don't like, reject the MAGA movement, reject their draconian abortion laws, the ones from 1864 that they will probably try to enforce in other states. So again, we just have to keep our eye on the ball, continue to be focused on saving our democracy, make sure that independents do not break for Trump. If independents can break for Biden, that is game over. My name is Adam Mockler. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart if you made it this far, subscribe with the notification bell on if you don't want to miss a video. Most importantly, have a great day and have a great rest of your week.